Hey everybody, this is David at Barnyard Bees. Sorry I haven't made a video in a couple weeks. I've been a little bit under the weather and trying to get some things done and closing on some property. But I'm okay, and it wasn't COVID. Don't worry about that. I'm fine. Everything's doing much better. But I wanted to do a video on your winter bees, and the video was suggested by one of our customers, Aaron, in Virginia. He's one of our good friends. And he's got a group on Facebook. You may check it out. It's called Page Valley Beekeepers. Go check out that group page. He just had started up, so he's a pretty good fellow, so go check him out. But anyway, what we're talking about here is our winter bees. And a lot of you beekeepers don't know, a lot of the new beekeepers don't know this, that winter bees, they live the longest of all your bees. They live from fall all the way into spring, where the colony will reduce in size throughout the winter. It's just natural. They'll die off, but then it leaves seed and enough bees to cover the brood till spring, until she picks up pace. And then, you know, by the time we always kind of use the marker of the red maple. Once that red maple comes into bloom, that queen starts hammering hard and laying eggs and hatching off brood fast. It's a fast increase, and it's just like the bees' favorite time of year. But anyway, let's not get away from the winter bees, what we're talking about. Now, a lot of people, what they try to do through the winter is they want to check out and see if their bees are alive or if they're dead. And especially in the colder climates. Now, here in the south, we have a lot of days of cleansing flight. You'll see them all winter long like this, coming and going, so you pretty much know. But when you get in up north, further north, you won't see your bee. People won't see their bees from fall all the way till spring, and they're always questioning whether they're alive or not. And first thing they do, they go out there and on a warm day and maybe pop the hive open just to look and see if they're in there. That's the biggest mistake you could ever make. Don't ever go into a hive in the winter time or after fall. I recommend, because they propolize everything shut. You know, from your upper chambers, from your brood chamber to your honey chambers, and your lids, your inner covers. They propolize everything shut to seal it off, to keep the hive warm. And they also know how many cracks to propolize, because they do have to have ventilation, and bees know how much ventilation they have. Now, if you're wondering about the beetle barn right here, I did have another piece of wood right there beside it, and I just had knocked it out. The bees had found a crack or something up here that they're trying to get into. And these aren't robin bees, don't worry about that. And these are going into this hive. But anyway, I opened it up to kind of encourage them to go in there a little bit faster. But anyway, now, if you break up propolis, propolis is, there may be some right here, some here on the side of, this is propolis here that's on the side that the bees make. They use it as like a glue to seal off their hive in frames, and so they use it all through the hive. And once that seal's broke, you saw how brittle that was. Well, and especially in cold weather, it's just not going to seal back again. So you can be endangering your bees by doing that. So, and then the next thing people like to do is put their ear up to it and knock on the hive. And when you do that, you'll hear the hive go bzzz, real loud, like starting up a chainsaw. I've done it, and you shouldn't. Don't disturb your bees. Be patient with them. Wait till spring. Wait till a good day of cleansing flight like this right here. Actually, the bees here, and let me know in your area how it's doing. We still have goldenrod. It's November 20th, I think, today. We still have goldenrod flowing. Just up the road, there's a big field of it, and we've had heavy frost. And here, I don't know if it's the type of goldenrod or just how it's laying in the valley. The frost is just not hitting it hard enough, and we've had some hard frost, and it's still viable. They're still bringing it in, and so let me know in your area how it's doing. November 20th, and still have goldenrod. I can't believe it, but this weather's been crazy this year. Now, what a lot of the new beekeepers don't know too is your hive will start cluster at about outside temperatures around mid to low 60s. They'll actually start clustering. Now, it's not a tight cluster. It's a loose cluster where they're spread apart a little bit. As it gets colder, those bees will become into a tight cluster. If you could go in there and pick it up, it would be like you see me do the videos where they're balling up a queen, how tight that ball is. They're like that. They got a real tight cluster, and as it warms up, that cluster will break loose, thinner, or not thinner, but more apart, and the bees will do that all winter long. Now luckily here in the south, we have days that like I said, they can do cleansing flights. And I've seen videos of people that have to pick up their bees and put them in storage. Hey, that's just how they got to do it. There's no other way around it. We're lucky here in the south, and even further south, when you get into Florida, you know, a lot of them, they're reproducing bees year round. Now, another thing about your winter bees, a lot of people don't realize. Now, I did do this in the video, but don't do it because I did it for demonstrations and for teaching people. So if it killed one hive, which it didn't, but if it did to save 100 other hives that people watch the videos, then it was well worth it. But I get into the hive about, it was after Christmas, I believe, in December, and just to make a video and show people that the queen indeed is laying eggs, and she is. And it's a tight pattern of eggs. You know, because you got to remember the bees have to cover that brood, and they're trying to move around and where their honey supplies are. So she won't lay that much, but she never stops laying. Don't ever think that she stops. And if somebody tells you that, they're false. She will continue to laying all through the winter. She'll pick up pace as the winter goes on. Now, another thing about your winter bees, and I'll do a demonstration here in a couple weeks. We use the hive top feeders, and I'll show you in another video when I do the demonstration, and the round hive top rapid feeder. Well, what we do, we make sure there's no more moisture in it. We pour sugar in that and put the top on it and let those bees feed. Now, one problem with that, and I agree, because I know when you go up further north, it's a little bit different than it is here in the south. With here, this is more than sufficient with these bees, because they'll get to that sugar. There's too many days that are good that they can actually get to that sugar. Well, I've heard people argue up north about when I made that video, and it does make sense. I guess if the sugar's not a sugar cake spread all over top of their hive, their argument was they just can't get to it. Well, I can see that to some degree, but that's not everywhere. Don't think that's everywhere. That's just in extreme cold conditions, or moderately cold to extreme cold conditions where they can't actually get to that sugar. So what they do, and I've done it too, spread out a newspaper and pour dry sugar on, or they'll use a sugar cake. Well, they'll make their own sugar cake and put it on top, and those bees will feed on that all winter long, and it'll pretty much cover the whole hive. So no matter where they go to, they'll have sugar above their heads to feed on. So, but I'll do a demonstration here in about another week. And but the thing is, if you're going to do that with the sugar cake and the sugar, do it earlier, because there you go, breaking the propolis to get to your bees to do that. So I always recommend here to start feeding dry sugar December 1st. That's when we start doing it, and we'll pull everything out. Right now it's a 2-to-1 mix is what we're running. 2-to-1 sugar. 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. That's what we're running right now. But December 1st, we start with the dry sugar, and we use the rapid feeder, which you can do that anytime. You don't have to break off. You don't have to separate anything, because all you do is take your lid off, and your bees, your feeder's right there. So you're not disturbing the bees whatsoever. And you're not breaking any propolis to do it, because the bees don't access, they don't get inside that chamber. So that is a good thing if you're able to do that, if you're in the warm conditions where it's not so cold that the bees can't get to it. So there's a few things I wanted to get to you and tell you about today, and I will get back to making a video once a week. And if I don't get that one next week, I'll get it here in a few weeks, or I'll do the demonstration on how we feed the dry sugar. So that's about it, folks. Don't forget, please help spread our videos. We're looking forward to spring. It's going to be a long, slow winter, I'm afraid. Please click on the little bell, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Barnyard Bees.